Good morning to all of you. And President De Joya, I would like to thank you very much for your introduction. And I would like to especially thank you for having quoted that speech that I gave in Mexico. The global economy is weaker than we had hoped only 6 months ago. So there is recovery, don't get me wrong, but it's weaker than what we had thought. And we forecast a modest pickup in 2015 and that's an important factor, the outlook for potential growth has been pared down. Now, as I said earlier, it's country-specific, and the prospects are different. Among the advanced economies, clearly the United States of America and in Europe, the United Kingdom are leading the charge and expected to be stronger. The recovery is much more modest in Japan, and it's the weakest in the euro area, where there are disparities within the same currency zone. Turning to the emerging and developing economies, they have been doing all the heavy lifting in the last 5 years. They've contributed roughly 80% of global growth in the last 5 years. And led by Asia predominantly, given the size and the growth, particularly China, they will continue to contribute massively on the markets. Their debt level has increased, so they should be watching. Finally, so the bottom line of all that, 6 years after the financial crisis, we continue to see weakness in the global economy. Countries are still dealing with the legacies of the crisis. And what do I mean by that? A much higher debt level, both at sovereign and quite often at corporate and private sector levels in general. And unemployment is still a major difficulty in many of those crises.
So we're going to bring out some microphones. I think there might be one in the middle aisle.
There has to be a new momentum. A new momentum that will consist of putting a set of bolder policies together in order to overcome what I would call the new mediocre. And that's a risk if it stagnates as such, if we have this horizon of new mediocre.